Hey there, this is Jeff from Heroes and Legends. Welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. So, this has been a huge week, very turbulent week for both Modern and Standard. Over on the Standard side, we saw the Pro Tour unfold, which of course had a big impact on the values of a lot of cards. And then over in the world of Modern, we had a huge shakeup with the Zendikar Fetchlands. I did a special edition video a few days ago just because it was such a big deal, and we'll talk about that shortly. But let's just jump in and start with Standard. First, let's look at the top 5 standard cards that have lost value this week. Number 5 is Collected Company, and this lost $1.22, bringing it down to $9.99 this week, and simply because it's included in the Magic Origins Clash Pack. So if it wasn't there, this would probably be a $20, $25 card, so this is a big win for players. It's great that this was reprinted in that product, and players were able to get their hands on it. If you don't have your copies of Collected Company, I would probably still try to pick them up relatively soon. I don't think it's going to go a whole lot lower than maybe $7, $8. It sees a ton of play in Modern, it sees a ton of play in Standard, and long term this is a great investment that is going to continue to creep up as time goes on. Number 4, Archangel of Tithes. It lost $1.22, bringing it to $11.83. Just didn't really do much of what some people expected, I think. It's a mythic rare, so it came out of the gate pretty strong when the set was released, and some people, I think, hoped that it would bring about mono-white devotion, and we did see a couple outlying mono-white devotion decks that first week in the Star City Games Open in Chicago, but they didn't really seem to go anywhere, and when they didn't really make an impact on the Pro Tour, I think this is just going to start seeing a decline unless another deck finds a home for it. Don't really think this is going to be a great investment going forward. Now that could change with the rotation, and there's another card we're about to talk about on the list that if there was a good solid white standard deck out there, it probably would be doing great right now, and this card is kind of the same story. And Kytheon, this is the card I was referring to. It's down $1.39, lost $12.27. This is a very strong standard card. It just doesn't have a deck right now. There's just no white weenie deck or strong white deck or even a aggressive Boros deck that's doing anything in standard right now. After rotation, that possibly could change depending on what Zendikar gives us, but right now this is probably the weakest Planeswalker in the environment, not because it itself isn't a good card, but it just doesn't have the support right now. Coming in at number 2 is Days Undoing, and this lost $1.63, bringing it to $11.95. So that first week at the Star City Games Open, there was the Turbo Fog deck. There was a lot of excitement about the mill strategy, and this card was a part of that. And then it kind of just fell off the map. We didn't really see it the next week make any serious impact at Star City Games Open. We didn't see these decks make any impact at the Pro Tour. So as a result, Days Undoing is starting to go down a little bit until someone else finds something clever to do with it, which could very well still happen. It's a very powerful card. It just needs to find the right combo and the right synergy. Again, after rotation, it could have some potential. And our number 1 standard card that lost value this week was Jace, Vern's Prodigy. Lost $5.87, bringing it down to $32.90. So Jace still saw a ton of play at the Pro Tour. Going to continue to see a ton of play in Standard. But there was just a huge hype and speculation spike about a week or week and a half ago. Brought this card up to about $40 at its peak. And that was just too high too fast. As packs are getting open, more Jaces are getting thrown into the environment. People can get their hands on them a little easier, so the value is just kind of stabilizing now. It's still a great card. I mean, think Dragonlord Ojutai a few months back when it just exploded. That also went up to about $40, and now it's down to about an $18, $20 card. It's probably what's going to happen to Jace. It's still going to see tons of play, but it's not going to maintain such a high value when it's currently out there being printed and being opened at a pretty high rate. Alright, now let's look at the top 5 standard cards that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 5 is Polluted Delta, and it's up to $19.33, going up another $1.09. Fetchlands, I'm telling you, this one's about to hit $20. This is the leader of the pack right now, but all these fetches of the enemy color type from Khans are just going to keep slowly creeping up. Windswept Heath hit a little bump in the road because it was included in the Clash Pack, but still a great long-term investment. I say it every week, I'm going to say it again. If you still don't have these fetch lands, get your play sets so that you have them, you can use them in Modern. these are just going to keep going up and up, and more on Fetchlands in a moment. Number 4 is Hangerback Walker, and this is really the darling creature of Magic Origins. If you haven't got your copies yet and you're planning on playing some Standard this season, I'd probably try to get my hands on them now. It's up to $16.25, going up $1.61, and there's even people trying to make this work into Modern Robots decks. If it makes an impact in Modern, this is going to be a great long-term investment. I mean, think like Arcbound Ravager, that type of card. But if it doesn't find a home there, it's probably going to be a little more like Thragtusk. Very good for the season, and then still going to find homes in cubes and casual decks and in Commander, but might not have the huge price increase as some of the big Modern cards do. Next is Demonic Pack at number 3. It went up $1.72, bringing it up to $8.73. There is a deck that had some decent success, very good success of the Pro Tour actually, running this card. So there is a little combo where you can get this card out, it can do a lot of damage, and then you're able to bounce it back to your hand. So it's a thing in Standard, at least right now. I don't know, it just seems a little fragile. It might be able to be sideboarded against successfully. However, if it doesn't take up a huge portion of the field, a lot of players may decide to sideboard against some of the other more common decks. And if that's the case, this card could still see some more value increase. So keep an eye on this one. Number 2 comes to us from the winning deck at the Pro Tour, and it is Abbot of the Carroll Keep. It went up $2.43, bringing it to $8.32. Now, of course, this card just won a Pro Tour, so of course you're going to see an increase. Depending on how much success this deck has going forward, will determine if this card keeps going up or kind of stabilizes around the $10 mark. If a lot of decks start sideboarding against the strategy, it could go back down a little bit or at least stabilize. If they don't, and this becomes the runaway deck, then of course it will continue to go up in value. It's a very good card, and I could even see this potentially seeing some play in other formats besides Standard. And the number 1 mover in Standard this week also comes to us from that same Pro Tour deck, and it is Exquisite Firecraft. It went up $2.61 to $8.99. So what makes this card really great is its Spell Mastery clause, that if you have Spell Mastery, it can't be countered. It's a great way to finish off control decks. You get a lot of damage early in while they're trying to establish their base, and then when they're getting to the point where they can just counter everything, this can't be countered, and it can go in and finish the game. So that itself just makes it very powerful, even though the casting cost seems a tad high for 4 damage to a creature or player, but at sorcery speed. But with Spell Mastery, it's more than worth it, and this is an excellent card. It's going to continue to see a value increase, especially if this deck really lights up the field. No pun intended. Alright, let's look at our Modern cards, and let's first start out with the top 5 that lost value this week. Number 5 was sort of Fire and Ice. It lost $1.18, bringing it down to $55.63. This has recently seen an increase. It's going to continue to increase. This is just normal stabilization. This is a fantastic card. It's probably the best of the swords. Don't worry that it lost $1 this week. It's going to continue to be a very strong card. Arcbound Ravager, $42.99 and lost $1.19. This one has just been up and down every week. I'm not really sure why at this point. I just think it's normal stabilization. It's just stuck around the $42 mark, so it really isn't changing that much. It just seems to be having wild swings every week. Yeah, it's a great card. It's going to be part of the Artifact deck. Sometimes the Affinity deck goes up and down as people sideboard against it in the meta, so maybe that's what we're seeing, but don't worry about Arcbound Ravager. It's going to probably just stay stable between $40 and $45 for a while. Coming at number 3 is Emrakul of the Eons Torn, and this is down $1.24, bringing it to $38.96. This in particular is the Rise of the Eldrazi version of the card. So the deal with this is just simply, if I'm playing this in, say, Urzatron, I just need 1 copy. If I'm trying to build a cube, I just need 1 copy. If I'm playing a casual deck on my kitchen table, I probably only want 1 copy of this. So when you have Modern Masters 2015 come out, this is a mythic rare, but it's just putting more copies out there, and players don't really need more than 1 copy of this. So because of that, it's lost a little value, but still, it's not going to lose a ton more value. This is easily going to maintain a $30 to $40 value, and then until the next reprint, it will continue to creep up again. Great cube card. Cube players really will want to get their hands on this long term. Number 2 is Grove of the Burn Willows, and it lost $1.30 this week, bringing it down to $53.74. Again, this is just normal stabilization for this card. It just saw a huge hype increase when it was revealed it wasn't being reprinted in Modern Masters. It kind of jumped up, and now it's just kind of finding its home. It's easily a $50 card. It's probably not going to drop that much more. And our number 1 modern card that lost value this week was Tarmogoyf. In particular, we're looking at the original Modern Masters version. It lost $2.44, bringing it down to $181.96. So, Tarmogoyf, don't worry about it. It's still a $180 card. It's not going to drop that much more. It's simply just a case of market stabilization because the new Modern Masters introduced more into the environment. So, this one, which was actually the most value of them all, is just stabilizing a little bit, coming back down to the level of the other 2 Goyfs, or at least getting closer to it. Alright, so let's talk about the big news of the week. Top 5 modern cards that have gained value this week, and you're going to see that they are all Fetchlands. And basically what happened was, about 3 days ago, Mark Rosewater went onto his blog on Tumblr, and he stated that Battle for Zendikar would have full art basic lands, and they will have a new cycle of dual lands, but they will not have the enemy fetch lands. Well, that simple statement just drove the market into a frenzy. So it's hard to know what to make of these values right now. They have just skyrocketed in a matter of days. I mean, within hours of his announcement, there were cards doubling in price, and that's why I felt it was important to make a special edition of the Market Watch a few days ago. I hope some of you saw that. I hope some of you were able to get to your card stores and maybe get those cards while they were still on the shelf before the price impact hit some of the local stores, and you were able to hopefully maybe get some copies or get your play sets while you still can, because these things are outrageous now. When any big hype speculation spike happens, there's usually a little bit of a backlash, and prices don't stay at the peak. They will drop back down, and we see that all the time. This, though, when I say drop back down, they may lose $10, $15, but they're just gaining so much value that there's a point where that just won't matter anymore. They're just becoming too expensive and really priced out of range for a lot of players. So before we go through the prices, I just wanted to kind of say, I hope Wizards finds a way to get these products out to players sooner than later. My fear is they're saving these for a standard set that is going to need a hook. Maybe when they go to a new environment that we're not familiar with and they don't really have any kind of spicy hook to the set, they're going to throw the fetch lands into it. Some could argue that's what happened with Cons. I loved Cons as a set, but when it was first coming out, nobody knew what to expect from that environment, and having the allied color fetch lands really made it a hot seller. That's probably what they're saving these for. Let's face it, Battle for Zendikar doesn't need the help. They already have full art basic lands, and there's cards that people are looking forward to hopefully seeing reprinted in mechanics like Landfall. It's a very popular environment. People are happy to go back to Zendikar. It just doesn't need these to sell. So unfortunately, we might be waiting a while until Wizards finds a set that it feels it needs the extra push. And unfortunately, players that are trying to get into Modern are the ones that are going to pay the price for that. And it's hard to say right now, but this could possibly hurt or damage the Modern format just because less players are going to be able to get in there. It's kind of sad that you just released Modern Masters 2015, which did bring the prices of some cards down and had a higher print run than previous Modern Masters. Still had its flaws, but was handled better as far as getting cards into players' hands. And then this happens, which creates a huge, huge barrier for entry. So anyway, that's my piece on it. I feel bad for the players that don't have these and have wanted to get into Modern, and that's really sad. There was also a lot of players that sold off these cards just assuming and speculating on the fact that they were going to be reprinted, tried to sell them before the price bottomed out. And now they're in a very bad situation if they want to play with those cards. So anyway, let's look at what actually happened with the values, and we'll start with Marsh Flats. It's up $11.93, increasing to $39.94. Number 4 is Arid Mesa. It increased $13.83, bringing it up to $46.62. Number 3 is Verdant Catacomb. It increased $17.78, bringing it up to $55.97. Number 2 is Scalding Tarn. This one increased $22.56, bringing it up to $80.54. And our number 1 mover in Modern this week is Misty Rainforest. This more than doubled in value this week. It went up $36.27, bringing it up to a total of $70.49. Now, these cards were pretty highly valued before the speculation of Battle for Zendikar, where they've been slowly dipping. So maybe this is just them going back to where they were before the speculation of the reprint occurred. But even so, this is just a huge, I think, kind of punch in the stomach to anybody who was hoping to get into Modern. So hopefully, sooner than later, they find a way to get these into players' hands before barrier to entry just becomes too great for that whole format. So anyway, having said that, thanks for watching. As always, please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. If you're still looking for quality Magic the Gathering videos, click on one of these annotations. And if you hadn't had a chance yet to subscribe, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the breaking MTG news, spoilers, set reviews, crazy product openings, or gameplay videos on Heroes and Legends MTG. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.